Imagine living in the Wild West, a place ruled by outlaws, gunfighters, racists, and deadly winters. Now imagine the toughest person in that entire frontier was a black woman over 6 feet tall who carried mail through blizzards with a shotgun in one hand and a revolver in the other. Before we dive into the main story, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel and click on the bell notification button for more interesting video like this. Men feared her. Bandits avoided her routes. And children adored her. But here's the part history barely talks about. She was born enslaved. She couldn't read or write. She smoked cigars, fought grown men with her bare fists, and once protected U.S. mail so fiercely that criminals literally turned around rather than face her. People called her Stagecoach Mary. But the deeper you dig into her story, the stranger it gets. Because hidden inside America's Wild West legend is a truth most history books ignored for over a century. One of the greatest frontier heroes in American history was a black woman they tried to erase. And what she survived before becoming a legend is even more unbelievable. Before she became one of the most feared figures in the American frontier, Mary Fields was born into slavery around 1832 in Tennessee. No exact birthday. No official records. Because enslaved people often weren't documented as human beings, only as property. That alone tells you everything about the world she entered. For decades, Mary lived under brutal conditions during one of the darkest periods in American history. Then came the American Civil War. When slavery officially ended in 1865, millions of formerly enslaved people suddenly faced a terrifying question. When out, most had no land, no money, no protection, and in many places, freedom existed only on paper. But Mary Fields was different. She refused to live quietly. She worked difficult labor jobs across the country, often jobs considered too hard for women. Loading cargo, working farms, moving freight, handling physically brutal work that exhausted most men. And Mary didn't just survive. She became intimidating. Reports described her as massively strong, fearless, and completely unwilling to tolerate disrespect. Some accounts claim she could knock a man unconscious with a single punch. And honestly, people believed it. By the late 1800s, Mary ended up in Montana Territory, one of the harshest environments in America. This wasn't Hollywood's Wild West. This was real frontier life. Freezing winters. Bandits. Deadly isolation. One wrong turn in a snowstorm could kill you within hours. It was there that Mary became connected to a Catholic convent led by Mother Amadeus Dunn. And this is where the story takes a bizarre turn. Mary, a cigar-smoking, gun-carrying, hard-drinking black woman with a violent temper, became deeply loyal to a group of nuns. Not exactly the partnership people expected. But the nuns trusted her because she got things done. When supplies needed transporting through dangerous terrain, Mary handled it. When people threatened the convent, Mary intimidated them. When work became dangerous, Mary volunteered first. But eventually her explosive personality caused problems. Legend says she once got into a gunfight with a male employee after a heated argument. Others claim she regularly challenged men who insulted her. Eventually, church officials pressured the convent to remove her. So Mary left. At this point in most stories, life falls apart. But for Mary Fields? This is where the legend truly begins. In her 60s. When most people at the time were already physically broken, Mary Fields took one of the most dangerous jobs in America. Mail carrier. And not just any mail carrier. She became a star route carrier for the United States Postal Service in Montana. That meant she personally delivered mail across remote wilderness routes filled with mud, snowstorms, thieves, and deadly terrain. If the mail didn't arrive, entire towns could be cut off from communication. And Mary became famous for never missing deliveries. Even in brutal weather. Even when roads vanished beneath snow. There are stories claiming that when her wagon got stuck, she would strap mail bags onto her shoulders and walk miles through blizzards alone. Frozen. Determined. And here's the hidden truth many people don't realize. At that time in America, a black woman holding authority over white citizens in frontier towns was almost unthinkable. Yet Mary earned something stronger than acceptance. Respect. Legend. People along her routes reportedly said, "If Stagecoach Mary is carrying the mail, it will arrive." No excuses. No delays. No surrender. And criminals learned quickly not to test her. Some stories say she carried 2 guns and a rifle. Others say she scared bandits simply by showing up. Whether every legend is perfectly accurate almost doesn't matter anymore. Because Mary Fields became larger than life while she was still alive. That almost never happened to black women in the 1800s. Children loved her because she protected them. Locals admired her toughness. Men who underestimated her usually regretted it. And despite years of discrimination, insults, and exclusion, Mary somehow transformed herself from a person America treated as property into one of the toughest frontier icons in the Wild West. But the most shocking part? Hollywood barely mentioned her for decades. Think about that. The Wild West became one of America's most mythologized eras. Thousands of movies. Cowboy legends everywhere. But one of the most unique real-life figures, a 6-foot-tall black female gunslinger mail carrier born into slavery, was almost erased from mainstream history. Because her existence challenged the image many people wanted the West to have. But history has a strange way of resurfacing. Today, historians increasingly recognize Mary Fields as one of the most extraordinary frontier figures ever documented. Not because she fit the rules, but because she shattered them. She died in 1914 in Montana, and by then, she had already become a living myth. A former enslaved woman who conquered one of the harshest frontiers in America with grit, violence, courage, and pure unstoppable will. And maybe the most unbelievable part of all? She did it during an era designed to stop someone like her from ever becoming legendary. Yet somehow, she became immortal anyway. But here's the truly chilling part historians still debate. How many other people like Mary Fields were erased from history completely? How many legends never made it into the books? Simply because society refused to see them? Because the deeper you look into the Wild West, the more you realize the real story is nothing like the version Hollywood told us. And some of the most dangerous people in frontier America weren't outlaws at all. They were survivors. If you want more hidden historical stories Hollywood ignored, subscribe now, because the real history is always darker, stranger, and far more unbelievable than fiction. For more videos like this, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.